There are so many reasons why today we're chatting a little bit more about the Bank of Ziziton Finance Bank, and we are tackling a few areas such as those ones. I'm gonna hold them back slowly for you guys to go through slowly and then take a note for yourself. It's not easy to. We have no PowerPoint and we're still facing problems, and we're gonna come with all the solutions required. If you have a PowerPoint, and then we'll be able to put everything available. Those are areas of our meeting today. The speaker is Wayne Hassan Ziziton, as today's date is concerned and today's time is concerned. The section B. Area of the final page that we will be tackling as well. Continue taking the notes. You can stop the video and then write all the notes and then continue to the next page. As we are lacking the PowerPoint, is very hard for anybody. For all the university student and student who are going to university or doing their high school equivalent, they can also learn that whatever they're in the primary schools or in the elementary schools, they're interested in business training. Those are business skills we are handling, and then you can have just a little notes out of this order. Otherwise, just a few summaries. Actually, to begin with, it does at the Bank of Ziziton. First is the employment and the salary expectations. The new hire employees. We have the candidates. A few candidates, and we want to add more candidates. The training of the new hire employees. That's the employee leaderships. And we have agricultures and atmospheric conditions. We have areas of handling the workers' conflict and resolutions, workplace safety, punctualities, travel allowance, and then workers' benefits, investment analysis, the 900 trillion CAT. Also as the city managements, the city constructions, the city renovations, the city pavement deal, water hydro developments in the city limits. We have city budget approvals, the city mortgage and real estate affairs, that's tax refunds and the government assistance, and then government housing employees, and then employees on government assistance. We are also handling parts of the areas such as we are not for sale, not for free. The logos of the company was designed for the workers only and the customers cares. Therefore, as I'm the speaker, that's the speaker Wayne Hassan Ziziton, age 18. Sections B. That's the community issues and the issues affecting our communities in today's business worldwide. want, that's downsizings, the lack of troubles, lack of community leaderships, lack of wealth and responsibilities, market threats and the downsizings, which are caused by mental illness, arose of over-serious arguments by therapists, also called the impairments, or the delusional cases which are affecting the most marketers across developed cities in Canada. And then as in examples, and then the close bargained soap was sleeping impaired, and then seeing their soap, okay, seeing their soap operating outside the regions, outside the stores, okay. There's sleeping impaired, and then we the soapers who are soaping thoroughly, such as myself, we also involved at that impairments, and we are sleeping all impaired as the sellers they are doing themselves. Okay, the sellers are also impaired. They close that areas, and then you may find that someone don't want their location to be known. Where such kind of people, which they want to turn always $3, they want to ensure that the guy did not soap anything down there worth $10, because they reduce that $10 to less than $1. I think to 10 cents. 10 cents cannot buy bargain soap. You may find that such kind of crazy people, they will move bargain soap by head. That's what the hospital said. Head is a top. Okay, they move the location of bargain soap to another area, and then it might be by Richmond, might be by King, and the other King, not in the real where they are located in the city mall. Then that's why we are impaired. They are also impaired. They know that. That's why they close and then they move out. They are using a different kind of methods. Those are the areas where we are tackling. As we said, impair and delusional. They make those guys selling outside their real location for that reasons. And then to continues, that's the isolated fighters, drunkards, and then cannabis and the drugs dealers, the business side killers, the head business groups, which are most thinking that they are not in business. They are not in business. Cannot be operated by any individuals. Those who are not in business, they cannot operate business as an individual. Okay, in any business environments or at any other business environmentals, that's what it is. And everything is for sure. Everything is possible for any businessmen, whatever they are individuals or they are not individuals. That's possibilities. As we put it down, either is a small business or is a large business. That's everything is possible for any business owners to fit their daily business desires wherever possible. As we said, that's the 20th of March, the 2nd at 10 a.m. And then to describe to these others, and then I'll have to tackle all these topics step by steps. And then I'm going to be breaking them step by steps as we will be continuing hearing from here. For salary expectations within our companies, we may say that the company is need of the salaries. For sure, that's the Bank of Ziziton. Okay, the Bank of Ziziton. That's tackling the area of salaries. Salaries expectations will be available for all our candidates. If it's our candidates, if it's our new hired employees, we're gonna need the salaries for them. And then the salaries is salaries. Okay, the salaries areas is the salary expectations would be on if they expect there will be $100,000 yearly as a salary for whoever is either teller or is a customer care or is a customer service or is a business service or is an accountant, or in the office, and then or the securities. Then it will be ranging from that areas, and then it will be paid by check. That is a check. Write your own check. We have that on because our office will be supplied with the software. We will be tackling with the software. We have a software experience, and we've been working with QuickBooks. QuickBook checks. We have a QuickBook checks, and then we can work with the QuickBook checks. And then all employees will be paid with the QuickBook checks. If we take an example in QuickBooks, or we use the bank softwares checks, and then to supply the employees. That's the areas of our salary expectations and employment. At this non-finance bank, and this bank as the Bank of Ziziton. Thus will be applied to salary expectations and new hire employees and then candidates. The trainings of new hires employees. And then for employee leaderships, the leadership will take place according to the areas of their leads. If they choose, they will be leading within their branch. If, for instance, we have a branch at the Wellington and Hawthorns, those branches which will be constructed. After it's constructed, we have a leads. The leads is the branch managers who will be tackling all the areas for the employee trainings, and then they will be tackling all that areas within the leaderships that is required within that branch, and then will be extended to another branch if it become a possibility. And that's based on the community's awareness, and then within the community needs. If it becomes that areas, and then that's particularly on that needs. Otherwise, for agriculture and atmospheric conditions, I'm not too sure. In Canada, we are doing less agriculture. I've been doing agriculture in 2004 when I was a landed migrant from Nairobi. And then we've been farming. We've been going to farms. We've been going to turkey farms. We've been going to chicken farms. And then we've been going to collecting tomatoes, farming tomatoes, and then collecting ginseng, and then planting ginseng, and then we've been participating a lot. Tilson bags, and then daily, and then we have stressful, and then addition exators, and then we have all the loans like up to Middlesex, and then up to Kent, and then anywhere around London and areas. So then there's a big farmers who've been practicing, and then it's based on whatever it becomes available. But if it's for Africa, then because in Africa we have this bank has a large companies. I mean large communities, and then the community is very big. That's where my origin is, and I have my families there over there. And then we're gonna be improving a lot because the agriculture is very poor over that country. We are lacking different tractors. We are lacking different all the animal shelters, and then all the kind of constructions which are required, which will maintain all the ranges of agricultural equipment. Those one, if we invest in different 900 trillions, and we divide them along all these areas, and then it will tackle all these areas, and then we will be able to balance African cities, and then we will balance North America. As North America is balanced, more balanced, there is no balance we can do here much. But our effort is to bring the differentiations between Africa and here, so that we will evaluate that cases of the conflict of Africa and then stop war. By doing that, if we invest too much in agriculture, and then too much in the constructions, and then the city will be more balanced like we are here. That's the situations which we've been judging across the travels. We make very small travel, but we are reasoning according to that. If these days whatever Afghanistan, and they've been war, and then in other areas they've been war. Okay, and then there is a lot of poverty like in Africa, and then those are the areas we have to balance, and we have to settle. We have to ensure that the cities are well well done wealth, and then the agriculture is well done wealth. That's the areas, because if the workers conflict and is based on the agriculture, then is based on the atmospheric conditions. Because if people are shopping by heads, people are doing anything like othering, and then they have the money invested, and then they have the skills which can pay this money, and then the money is refused by another bank, is refused by another shopper where they're shopping, and then we run the people crazy by shopping by heads, and then we're using to buy things, and then those things, they're not available here in the households. What we have here is less investment, and the investment is not 900 trillion what I have here and what you are seeing here on the screen. If the investment here is this one is $50 investment, is 8,000 investment per 41 days or per many years, then that's the case scenario. It's not investment. That's not that. And that's the scenario here. Because we want to ensure that there is a proper additional workplace safety, whatever that will happen according to the punctualities of the workers. Myself, I'm punctual. I'm starting my work always because we will be open from 9 to 5. If from 9 to 5, I'm always available in my office, and then I'm not sick enough, and I'm healthy like this, and then I'm eating, and then properly, and I don't even have any problems, and then that means I'm healthy, and I'm doing my work, and I'm always available and punctual. And whoever is a candidate, and whoever new hire we have in the office, and then they're also available from at least for 8 hours duration a day. Is what we call punctualities and workplace safeties. If they're saved day 1, they're saved day 2, they're saved day 3, they're saved day 4, they're saved day 5, and then they go home, and then they return again. That will become a routine for the workplace managements and leads for all the candidates. If it becomes travel's allowance, the travel's allowance is based on the criteria of the wiser employees, and whoever think very wisely and then going to help will earn extra, because they're going to help for sure. They're going to help. They're not going for a disaster to another country. They're not going for anything. They're going to rescue that particular areas that they have particular responsibilities. They want to go and say that their responsibilities with the country they're traveling, and therefore they qualified for sure. Each employee qualified, each candidate qualified for that regards. I have no argument, not tied down per that areas. Then if it's the workers' benefits, the workers' benefits is towards salary expectations, which we already negotiated. Does the paychecks. The paycheck is 5-year checks. And then the investments analysis is based on the 900 trillion CAT branches. That's branches. Whatever is the investment, that's the investment, because we prove to the workplace we are at work and we are working. That's 900 trillion is available. If I sit in the office and working, 900 trillion is available. If I invest writing like this, I write the paper, I write the information is available. You can share the information. You can take my note from here, from wherever possible. You take the notes, that's the availability of what it is invested. That's what we call investment, and that's how strong our arguments becomes. The argument is replaced according to the working hours, to the durations of our exhaustion, and then the routine works we are practicing per daily basis. Otherwise, per city management, and then city construction, and then city renovations, then city pavement deals, water hydro developments in the city limits, that's city budget approvals, and then city mortgages and real estates, and then tax refunds and government assistance and government housing employees. That's all based on the additions. Because for us to encourage additions, the developments of Africa, because these apps, they brought a lot of apps these days helping most most people are running quicker development. I think let's take Nigeria as an example. They're developing. Nigeria is on high rise. Africa is on high rise these days. They're developing. The city is going to be balanced more, and there are a lot of new real estates and mortgages all along. But whatever most of us who are here travelers and in USA, Canada, and then Australia, wherever, we don't have the mortgages, and then still we have the capital cities. Those capital cities, they're still growing. They have those mortgages. They have those real estate constructing. They're doing their constructions. Lagos has been a capital city for many years. Nairobi has been a capital city for many years. Kampala has been a capital city for many years. And then Kigali has been a capital city for many years. Khartoum has been a capital city for many years. If Juba is the most recently, this has been a big city, not a big city, it's a big village in Africa, but is also developing. Okay, and from there, such kind of development is what we call city management, and then we want to balance that. We want to ensure that it's not going to remain as the capitals only. If we're investing for the capital, we are not balancing what it is. We found out that whatever this one TD is a TD here in Canada, and then that doesn't balance Africa, and then TD will be closing all along. They will kick TD from one branch to another. They will close this branch. They will kick him away. And then from there, they will kick him more away. Why they're kicking, that's Africa. Africa is the one kicking, not myself, Ziziton, not myself, the white men in Canada, not myself, the other white men in Calgary, not myself, the other white men in Australia, not myself, not the other white men in USA, not myself, the other black guy in the USA. Because that's the TD himself which is kicking himself. Because if TD did not invest properly, and then did not want to balance the rest of the country, then TD will keep moving from one branch to the other. That's the reason. Because the situation, myself, I came from Africa. I just analyzed a few things. I did judgments. I did acting. I did evaluations. I did several things, which is comparing the conflict, the resoluting the conflict with the resolutions, and then have to first put many prayers. I put many prayers to survive. If I cannot do that, then I may not serve myself from coming away from Africa, and then to go back again. That's the case scenario, because Africa has been the addition. Those people that are feeding on addition on firewoods, they are feeding on the water on the streets, on the water on the bush. Those waters, they are very far away. To collect them on the fish, they have to carry them on their heads. That's the case scenario, because whatever you have a mortgage here in Canada, and then you don't want to mortgage the other country. And then that's the case scenario, because the areas of city management is the city management, city construction, then city renovations, and then city pavement deals, and then water hydro developments in the city limits. There's city budgets, approvals, and then city mortgages and real estate is very, very important. If you want to wise it that areas, you can go and wise it. If you don't want to wise it that areas, you cannot take a training from the Ziziton Finance Bank. We also Ziziton Finance Bank like ATD. We also like RBC. We also like CIBC. We also like the Bank of Montreal. We also like HSBC. We are like also Bank of America, and we are also like those other banks. If that's the areas we developed and we balanced, and then we see evaluations of different city managements. We really want to focus. The future is future. If it's made for future, the city of Canada is made for future. We have to focus on making the future of Canada, and then making the future of balancing the rest of the areas which we evaluate. They are not secure enough. Those areas we can make it safe, because some areas like in Africa, some regions we come from, the 80% threatful by animals, wild animals, and then there are some regions that are threatful by addition by human disasters. We have a lot of gunmen, which are fighting for the bushments. Okay, we have other regions which are not city well out. The teaching is not a straightforward for children standard, and then you may find that the teachers they're not reliable on the chalkboard well. The information, so they're not reading well to the students. The students they're not taking the notes. They're not getting well educated enough because the areas they are reading for the students doesn't understand it properly, and they're facing problems writing the information. The information is not well taught. They're using chalk. The lack of chalks, the lack of pens, the lack of everything. That's the areas because if you improve those areas like city management, you improve it, you improve city constructions, you improve city renovations, and then you improve city pavement deals, water hydro developments in the city limits, and then you improve city budgets, and then you improve city mortgages and real estates, and then you improve tax refunds, and then government assistance, and then such as government housings for employees and for whoever in the regions, and then the city transportations, you improve them, and then that will be more employees on the government assistance, and then more people and more communities on government assistance. That's the case scenarios here. Otherwise, it's not safe. We are not for sales, and we are not for free. That's what we are saying. If we are for free, we are for free. If we are not for sale, we are not for sale. That's the case scenario because it's a mandatory for everyone. If you found you are more responsible, your responsibility is to take the areas that is appropriate, which is safe, which is secure, and which is responsible and respected to the communities you are residing. If you lie to me, you're a community leader in Canada, and you lie to me, I went home, I respect you. And then the next day I come back and then you fool me a lot. And then how will I be respecting you? As a community leader, that's a fault because you are fooling. You are not balancing what the other guy is managing. And then they will promote me, they will demote you. That's the case scenario. If they promote you and then they demote me, that's the case scenario. They found that you are balancing more than I was doing. If you are doing that job more than I was doing, I will be demoted more. Then you will be promoted more. That's the disadvantages and advantages. You're weighing more than my disadvantages and advantages. And therefore my advantages is less, more or less, than yours. Yours is more expensive, and then you are dealing with those areas. That's the scenarios. Because just put it very briefly because of the few impairments we just observed last night, and then the rest of the days. The other guy in 7th floors carry a big potatoes. A potato cannot be purchased from Doloramas, for example. There's maybe Metro can sell potatoes. Food Basic can sell potatoes. And then Northfield can sell potatoes. I think they're selling potatoes. I think the other areas doesn't sell fresh potatoes. Dolorama doesn't sell that. Bagensum doesn't sell potatoes, I guess. What they're doing is addition, unless the potatoes are addition well packaged. If they package the potatoes, they're like they have those kind of food which are packaged foods. They're selling that. I know that. Otherwise, that's the scenarios we observed, and then that's the brief analysis. I just put them forward for whoever want to know about that, and it can take a note of that. Otherwise, in section B, we have a community issues, and then the issues affecting our communities, such as in business today, worldwide. That's the downsizings, because downsizings may come due to lack of respect, and then lack of travels, and then lack of community leaderships, and then lack of work, and lack of responsibilities. And then you may find that there will be many threats and more downsizings among the generations, young generations, who are taking to the next levels. And then from there, we found that a terrasopas may validate that they're using from what the government pays, and then to wherever possible it is. And then the other sopas are called mostly from our arrests, by several arrests which have been made to me. during the $3 sections. I was put in Victoria hospitals and then put in Calgary hospitals and then Calgary General Hospitals. That's General Hospital in Calgary. I was arrested down there, and then in London several times. Even South London Hospital, I was down there for mental illness. And then those cases, they're all affecting the community leaderships. That's community leadership arrested me because I have the leaderships, and then it's not safe for someone to jump in there and gun me down. That's the case scenario because I have the leaderships, and then they want to avoid such areas because of that abuse. And then you may find that the areas of the so-called Ajas are the groups of those people who jumped on the community's matters, and then they cannot solve it well. They may end up fighting the people on the street. They may end up doing anything, so that is the possibilities. And on that section, we mentioned here the isolated fighters, the drunkards, and then the cannabis and the drugs dealers. The business sign killers, those are the groups of the peoples. For sure, in these areas, for them, they are developing on their basis. If you say hello, they develop WhatsApp. They develop WhatsApp. Whatever you are handling on business side, they will say that's your business side, but we are developing WhatsApp. We can go there, we can WhatsApp you, and then we can confuse you. Hey, WhatsApp is a deal which is the other guy is WhatsApp more, the other guy hello more. Hello more will mix more with hello more. And then they are leaving the WhatsApp guy. That's the areas, because the WhatsApp guys corner a lot, and then from their corner kick, they corner all your corners away. That's why you may find that they went with the stores. They did not buy anything, but they go away with the others from the stores. They may go away with the others. They may say to us shoplifters. We are all shoplifters. For sure, if that's the scenarios, if you mix them with alcohol, you may find that you're shoplifters. It's better you isolate yourself and then you keep fighting. That's the isolated fighters. They call it isolated fighters on daily basis. On the areas of the downsize, that's the downsizings. We found a downsizing because of that areas, because downsizing is not a secure. It's not responsibilities. It's not health certified areas because of that area. And then most people turn to that institutions. If they corner and then they grab something and then they went with it, and then it becomes for them another opportunities. That's the scenarios here. So otherwise, I think we're gonna face this one down for now, and then we're gonna come with another resolutions if we need to further any complete informations. Other than that, that's all from Wayne Hassan, Ziziton. I'm in London, Ontario, and then and good luck to all who are trying to.